Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone that rule well. Peace to the elect. Peace to the elect. This is Axios. Why Americans will demand to be able to prove they're vaccinated even. You've received the Crown Royal Pestilence vaccination, right? You've received the Crown Royal Pestilence vaccination, but can you prove it? So this is the new doctrine. This is Esau's new doctrine. The answer to that question will help determine how the global economy functions for the next few years. Why it matters. The federal government will probably neither mandate nor encourage digital immunity passports or other proofs of vaccination, but privately operated, digital certificates are already being developed, and US law means that anyone who gets vaccinated here should be able to obtain the proof they need. The big picture. Your employer has a clear interest in knowing whether you've been vaccinated, as do the immigration staff in any foreign country you want to visit. Many workers, from nursing home aides to opera singers, have a clear desire and even need to be vaccinated before doing their jobs, which means they'll need some kind of proof of vaccination. What they're saying, those who get vaccinated deserve more freedom, wrote FT's John Gapper last month. Private companies should be allowed, even encouraged, to protect customers and employees from harm. I mean, you lot are worded funny still. If you're at harm and you're not protected unless you take their concoction. There's also an urgent need to restore confidence in travel and mobility, says Paul Mayer, CEO of the Commons Project, a group intending to build a global platform for proof of vaccination apps. If you can see the system they're trying to build up here, between the lines, trustworthy and reliable digital proof of vaccination is not only possible, Mayer tells Axios, it's also quite easy and will almost certainly happen. Almost certainly. Anyway, they're saying you shouldn't be happy getting a piece of paper or a little certificate. Hey, I've been vaccinated. But rather, you should be waiting on a digital thing, man. It says, the bottom line, paper yellow cards were generally accepted as proof of vaccination against yellow fever. Proof for Crown Royal 19 pestilence, vaccination, by contrast, is going to be digital. And it's going to be on individual Americans, you Babylonians, you spiritual Chaldeans, to get it. And then you got to go deeper. So the site is here, man. Axios.com. Go and go check it. Or you can just search this. It'll probably come up. Alright, so let's filter that through the word. Shalom. 1 Thessalonians 5:3. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. They shall not escape. And in fact, let's start at verse 1. 1 Thessalonians 5:1. So this is an epistle to the saints at Thessalonica, and they were more adept, at least, than the Corinthians. The Corinthians always had to get rebuked. Don't be ignorant of this, and you sort of had to explain a lot. That's why there's 2 whole books going to them. But 1 Thessalonians 5:1, it says, but of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you. So these are diligent people. So if you're diligent and you're understanding the time we're in, I don't need to write this unto you. But listen, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord, Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. We'll get the word travail in a minute. But just, you know what's got to happen, man. I talk to you like you're the Thessalonians. You know what's got to happen. We know exactly what's got to happen. We don't know exactly how. That's what 1 Corinthians 13 is going into, when it talks about we know in part, we prophesy in part. Until that which is perfect is come, which is Yahawashi, then that which is in part shall be done away. Alright? It says, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them. So when you've got this whole Maxx set up, you've got, well, as soon as you get the Maxx, you can fly out, you can see your family, and a lot of people are gonna be jumping at the opportunity. Even them saying, well, we wouldn't really have to mandate it, you lot would probably want it anyway. So they're saying, they're gonna say it's not necessarily a governmental mandate, but more so a social pressure, which is really how they're trying to push a lot of this Novus Ordo Seclorum. 1 Thessalonians 5:3, the word for travail. The word for travail is Odin. Oh, Salachia. The audio part is not going to work for this one. Just look it up, man. Look it up. I don't know who that brother is. The brother is. Look it up. You have to be like that. It says the pain of childbirth, travail pain, birth pangs, intolerable anguish in reference to the dire calamities precede the advent of the Messiah. I think that means that precede, or you need something in there. But the whole point is childbirth, and when you know contractions and that in labor, when that comes, it starts off, and then you have like let's say a 4 minute, and then it starts at 2 minutes, then it's a 1 minute and 30 seconds and 15 seconds, and everything starts getting faster and faster. That's the same manner that these sorrows, pains, and travails will come upon the earth. So you've got Matthew 24:8. All these are the beginning of sorrows, the beginning of them birth pains. Mark 13:8. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. And you've got them there. So go back to this. It says, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. So you know this, man. You've been listening to the videos, which are the electronic epistles in this era. You've been listening to that. You've been taking notes. You've been doing your study. You might have even put a couple videos up, just on some milk or maybe on some meat. But you're not in darkness. It says rather, ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. So you can't be sleeping in this time, like Romans 13:11 would have you. In fact, make we grab it. Romans 13:11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. So you have to wake up, man, knowing the time. It says the night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armour of light. But these are not in darkness, as some others. 1 Thessalonians 5. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. We black, brother. That's darkness. That's void of a nationality, void of understanding. But these, they know the times, the seasons. The Lord Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi cometh as a thief in the night. So they're not in darkness. It says, verse 6, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us, who are of the day, be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation. And how could you be drunk? How could you be drunk in this? By hearkening unto this. And it's they're trying to put it forth. Shoot, we'll try that again. They're trying to put it forth very convincingly. Revelation 17, and there came one of the 7 angels which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will shew unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. The many waters are peoples, tongues, and nation, and kindred. So there's a whore. The whore is Babylon the Great, the United States of America. It says, Revelation 17:15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest where the whore sitteth are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. So this is what it's sat upon. And it's ruling over the whole. This is the edifice. Look that word up, the edifice, where you get edify, means to build a building. This is the edifice. The great head, even that whore, that sit upon many waters, meaning nations. So it rules over, it reigns over. And therefore, it says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So the fornication, you got Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 12. I believe it's 14 and 12. Someone could drop that in the comments. It says that the beginning. Let me just pull it. I hate misquoting. So you got the Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 12. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. And while we're in here, before we hit the other app, we'll get 2 Ezra 16 and 16. It says, like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer, returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? And who's talking here? Who will deliver me in those days? Is this not Esdras? The words of prophecy from Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi to Esdras. So he said, who will deliver me in those days? Meaning what? Meaning what? Who will deliver me in those days? Is Esdras going to be alive when it's beginning to sorrow? It says the beginning of sorrows and great mourning, showing you that Esdras knew he was coming back. Who will deliver me in those days? And the answer is Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, if we are of the elect. But let's hit the other app. So Revelation 17 and 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, which is devising of idols, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. So all of this, what is that? Salakia. Alright, all of this is to push that final, this whole system, this whole seclorum is set up to push that final marking in prophecy, which is the mark of the beast, which we see to be the RFID microchip, because it's how you're going to buy, it's how you're going to sell, and it's how you're going to end up, by what this article is looking like, a digital passport. Wouldn't that be convenient? In your hand, and you can do it from a distance, and you got your money on it, so you don't spread the crown pestilence and the other strains that are here to come, because there will be more. Yeah, there will be more. It's not just this first one. There will be more. Pestilences. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So all of this is going to ramp up, and you're going to have a perfect scenario that the Lord puts it in the earth, where it does get to a dire, desperate state, that people are going to willingly take this. You have certain ones that says force, but the word really is cause, and knowing the image of the beast, not worshipping it, but knowing it, and how they deceive by miracles, they could just end up tricking you into getting it, or trying to give you fair speaking and kind words and all of this, and how safety and peace and safety, but sudden destruction shall come. Okay? So Revelation 13, when you have Revelation 13, the first verse is talking about the Roman seclorum, which then does extend into NATO and the EU through what they were really reigning over. When you check you had the pagan Roman Empire, then there's a lot. But anyway, you skip down to verse 11, and that's going into the 11th horn. You have 10 horns, but this is going into the 11th horn, which came up out of the fourth beast, but rather it ended up raining. And it tells you about how in 17, where are we? Yeah, the 10 horns which thou sawest, the 10 kings which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, so these are on the left hand. The saints will have one mind on the right hand, be on one accord. But these have one mind and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. That beast will be talking about the beast in Revelation 13 and 11. Because you have the fourth beast, then you have... That's why Revelation can confuse people. Because it's not necessarily a linear read where you're just going to understand everything straight away. You've got Revelation 13, and we'll start at 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. So the 2 horns is going into there. Well, you've got many layers to that, but ultimately it goes back to the Roman system same way. The plebeians and patricians, as you'd have the Democrats and Republicans. And you might have that in England. You have a slang word called pleb, like a low level, or you're a pleb, fam. It's not really. I don't use it. I've not heard too many people use it, but a pleb, and that goes back to plebeian, which means like a lower ranking member of society. And the patricians, when you go back to the word patrick, it does go back to patriarch or patriarch, which is like a fatherly rule. It says, and he spake as a dragon, because you've got that same Psalm 55 and start 19. God Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi shall hear and afflict them, even he that abideth of old, Salah. Because they have no charges, therefore they fear not God Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant. This is talking, who does this? Who comes and makes treaties, comes and settles you in, and then ends up putting you on a damn reservation, or puts a damn shackle around your neck? Who is this talking about, blood? Verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, ruling by the sword. His blessing is the sword. Cast thy burden upon the Lord Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. So you're casting your burden on Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. He's going to preserve thee. He will feed thee. He will clothe thee. You're not meant to take thought of that and be kindly confused, because that's what the Gentiles seek after. So this is the test. Are you going to cast your burden upon Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi? Are you going to cast your burden upon Esau, Edom, Adawam, the beast man, the fourth beast man? Revelation 13 and 12, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. You can read about that in Revelation 20. It talks about it going down, it's suffering, and there's other places. Even, well, secular history will tell you about the Byzantines, but Jake snuck up in the rulership, and basically that wounded the Edomitic rulership of that point. But he said his deadly wound was healed, so they're worshipping the one. Once Jake was out of there, then you had the Renaissance, and lost my trail of thought. Anyway, yeah. So this beast that comes up secondly, which is the United States, Babylon the Great, the whore, will cause the earth to worship the first beast, Rome, and that Roman system, the Roman icon. I mean, going back to image, which is where you get the word icon. It's a Greek word. That's what it talks about, the image of the beast. That word is icon. And even NATO and the EU going into all of their progression. It says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and an atomic bomb, a nuclear bomb. These things are fearful. These are miracles on the left-hand side. And many men will be deceived by that and end up worshipping their power and their authority. But the prudent, those with discretion, realize that there is no power except the power of Yahawah bahasham Yahawashi. If someone's set up to rule, they'll be set up by the Lord, not of their own selves. It says, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live, an icon, a likeness. And this is the likeness. It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. The Roman system, you didn't accept democracy. You didn't accept their Christianity. Certain ones were slaughtered for that. Even a testimony. But that's going to ramp up in these days. And this is the icon of the beast you see being created before thee. The dependence on them. There's never been this much government intervention in lifetimes before us. And there's not about to be. Sorry, there is about to be an unprecedented rule. Even greater than what we're seeing now. And this, how we see it ushering in the digital platform to ramp up to this point. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. When you go into the word mark, it's the word charagma or charagma, which goes back to charax, which means like a palisade or something being imprinted or implanted. Okay, so you've got the word charagma, also in Acts, the 17th chapter, the 29th verse, it talks about we ought not to think the Godhead is like unto silver or gold or things graven art by a man's hand. So it's talking about engraving, which is an idol. And you don't really worship idols. Well, I don't worship idols, but people don't tend to worship idols in that sense anymore, like they'll get a shrine and start bowing to a little Buddha or whatever, but it's through the worship of the image, the likeness of that, even through philosophy and doctrine. That's why Colossians 2:8 tells you to beware of other ideologies, other doctrines. But Revelation 13:15, when it talks about the image of the beast, that is as idolatry. But the mark of the beast will be a physical, literal idol, which they'll tell you is necessary for your salvation in this world, for you to be saved, for it to go back to normal. This is how we see it being implemented and implanted. Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, a charagma, in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So no man, no individual. It's not talking about nations, and it's an embargo, like some groups teach. It's not talking about not being in ISUPK, as ISUPK teach, or at least someone from there does. And that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, the charagma, that idol, that sculpture, or the name of the beast, going into his vibration. It doesn't mean you'll be able to say, well, USA, and now you can buy and sell, or the number of his name. That's the same, his vibration, the number of his name. You have the I can't think of a good way to articulate that, but you have the numeral. If you go into the word numeral, the number. In fact, let's do it. Let's read this. It says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, the beast man, and his number is 666. Now let's go number. Right, so you have this word numeral. It says word expressing a number, from French numeral, from late Latin numeralis, of or belonging to a number, from Latin numerus, a number, meaning figure or character standing for a number. That's the word numeral. Now you get number. Sum, aggregate of a collection. Nombre in French. It says numerous, a number, quantity, a sign, a lot, take. Written symbol or figure of arithmetic value. It says meaning single number, numbered issue of a magazine from 1795, colloquial sense of a person or thing. A person or thing. Meaning dialing combination to reach a particular telephone receiver. And yeah, the rest isn't really relevant in that sense. Yeah, that's all on that. But anyway, watch out, man. Watch out. Don't worship the image. Be circumspect. Be diligent. Be vigilant. Giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi.